Hello and welcome to Atop the Fourth Wall, where bad comics burn. Say! It's Miller time! Welcome once again to Miller Time, where we study the ever-growing insanity of comic book writer and artist Frank Miller. Previously on the Dark Knight Strikes Again review. In the dystopian future that served as a sequel to The Dark Knight Returns, the Dark Knight's contribution was to beat up Superman and talk about how friggin' awesome it is not having any superpowers. We'll ignore the fact that he's punching Superman with gloves that are no doubt designed to enhance strength. But what else happened? Well, Lex Luthor has taken over America with the assistance of Brainiac and somehow conned Superman, Wonder Woman, and Captain Marvel to work with him, a plot point that made me laugh out loud for its ludicrousness until I realized that Frank Miller was being serious. Also, Carrie Kelly took on the idiotic moniker of Catgirl and began a campaign of freeing other superheroes like the Atom, who she vomited up, and the Flash, who was given a stupid new black costume. Oh, lest I forget, I could barely understand that any of that was happening since we were bogged down by terrible artwork, nauseating colors, and pointless interludes where we watched Jimmy Olsen bitching every 5 minutes about how sucky the world is. So let's dig into The Dark Knight Strikes Again Part 2 and see how much worse it can get.
Welcome to Atop the Fourth Wall, where bad comics burn. Linkara's gonna teach you all a lesson you won't learn. Brodsky, you're not the smartest. Life out, you're not an artist. Anyone who's had a bad comic published, it could be your turn. Linkara, he's a man who punch, wears a birdie hat. Linkara, he has a magic gun. Where'd he purchase that? Linkara, coins, robots, Amazon and trucks. Linkara, this comic sucks. Linkara.
You see the distant flames, they bellow in the night. You fight in all our names for what we know is right. And when you all get shot and cannot carry on, though you die, La Resistance lives on.
This cover is moronic. It's a mishmash of styles, kind of like when you have a really bad green screen effect, which viewers of my show should be very familiar with. The heads of Superman and Wonder Woman are up in a corner where they're just about to kiss, although with Frank Miller's hyper-stylized art, it looks more like two fish are about to make out. Oh, and for some reason, Wonder Woman's wearing an earring with the Superman logo. Yes, the spirit and champion of truth is now reduced to Superman's groupie. Dear Lord, I hate this comic. Anyway, the background has these beams of light that actually look kind of pretty. It's once again an example of digital painting in Photoshop, but hey, it looks nice, certainly a lot better than the crap in the foreground. But what seals our confusion is the DK2 thing that's now on fire with blue flames for some reason. I don't get it. Well, since we're reviewing The Dark Knight Strikes Again, it's time to once more bring out the brainy specs and do some serious analysis. So, let's begin. We open to a woman's ass with the Superman logo on it. Okay, screw the analysis, this thing sucks. You know, it's funny. My review of Part 1 is the first time I got real, genuine hate from a few commenters. One person saying that Frank Miller deserved a free pass on everything he's done because of his contributions to the comic book industry. Yet no one was bitching when I made fun of Stan Lee in my Nightcat #1 review. Another, in a comment on a later video, said that the only reason I go after certain subjects like Frank Miller is to spark controversy and drive views up. And yet, this is the comic that has made them mad. The comic that opens with a naked woman bearing a Superman logo on her ass. This is the comic whose honor I have dared to impugn. How dare I attack this comic? Why, I'm just a prima donna, aren't I? The Bee Gees can get away with this. Yes, this person genuinely tried to compare me to the Bee Gees. But me? I'll never be that popular. Though ironically, the coloring for this comic does kind of remind me of Technicolor Dreams. Anyway, the point of this scene is actually that it's the cover to the Daily Planet magazine, with its rich Times New Roman font for its title. And it asks the question, Superhero chic, how far will it go? What I really love about this cover is that there's nothing else, just the one story, and then naked purple lady with Superman logo on her rear end. Come on, not even a good old Summit kaput?
Tedious, abominable.
Anyway, the running subplot, as we see on this next page with Black Canary here, God, I wish the real Black Canary could see this so she could kick this woman right in the face, is that there's a quasi-fashion trend thing going on. The youth of America are seeing more and more superheroes and are dressing up like them and taking on their own bombastic names and personalities. And how is this represented in the comic? With the quote-unquote super chicks actually being pretty much webcam strip shows. The revolution will not be televised, but it will be available for $4.99 per minute. We once again have decided to not worry about the actual superheroes and stuff, but instead focus on talking heads. We begin with Chris Mathews. I don't know why, Miller just throws this stuff out there. Just when you thought it was safe to get off your sorry butt and haul it out of the house, we got crazy people running around in costumes that look like they're sprayed on. Are they heroes or are they assholes? Well, in Batman's case, it's both. The rest of the talking heads, I have no clue who they are. There's this young guy who's got a permanent 5 o'clock shadow who thinks it's all about the polls. Then there's this snobby, uptight guy. Oh, pish tosh! The American people are a drooling pack of troglodytes. This is exhibitionism, pure and simple, symptomatic of the coarsening of our culture.
I've known you for 3 seconds, I'm already bored.
And then there's this guy. Yeah! What the hell's wrong with this dude's face? Jeez, there's gotta be someone else who I can... Yeah! Lady, you went overboard with the eye drops! Anyway, Scary Eyes Lady says that the quote-unquote super chicks are putting their lives in mortal danger and that this means something to them. Yes, I'm sure it's very meaningful to them, which is why they're doing live chats instead of, you know, something useful. This goes on for 4 pages, by the way, 3 of which are dominated by the super chicks. Some new commenters join in, like Velma from Scooby-Doo, and this freak who comments that Black Canary is hot. I hope in the future that news shows have eject buttons that allow you to shoot morons into the dumpster outside the studio. Anyway, the point of this whole conversation comes down to the fact that the holographic president has banned the super chicks. What does that mean? He won't let their concert through? They can't wear costumes? What? Oh, and I guess the super chicks are also a band and not internet porn stars? I don't know. None of this makes any friggin' sense. On this page, we've got even more talking heads, some of whom are just stereotypical cartoon characters for crying out loud, and God, this is stupid! Look, fine, let's say for the sake of argument that you need this kind of news segment to comment on a culture war that Batman is fighting and how the public reacts to his return. Fine, let's grant that. But can we be consistent about how this little news program works? Are they all in the same room? The uptight guy seems irritated that Jimmy Olsen has barged into the conversation. Is he in the studio with them? Is he hijacking the broadcast? Why do we have all these reactions on the street? Do they just keep cutting to them between sentences? Are they all happening at once? Is someone interviewing them? Gah!
It just raises too many questions.
We're rescued from the McLaughlin group nightmare by a 2-page spread. And I'll say it, this Batmobile here is friggin' awesome. That thing is just badass, gloriously retro and futuristic. However, much like our old pal Titans #1, you're gonna notice an awful lot of 2-page spreads and splash pages in this comic, so let's revive our old drinking game of taking a shot whenever we see him. Start with 3 swigs right away, because 6 pages in a row are 2-page spreads. Mind you, they might have terrible backgrounds, but they do convey in a badass manner the Batmobile flying right through the window of a government building. Though, judging from this page, Batman has just killed about a dozen agents of the Men in Black. Batman and Carrie come rushing out, Carrie sporting a kick-ass gauntlet that shoots out batarangs. You know, much as I hate the Catgirl costume, could they at least figure out what the hell it's supposed to look like? This tiger stripe thing is like the 3rd outfit they've pulled, and it doesn't make her look like a superhero, but a Tony the Tiger cosplayer. Consistency! It's great! So after beating up members of Luthor's staff, Batman finally comes to Luthor himself, just knocking the crap out of the old hunchback. How did he find out where Luthor was exactly? He's Batman, I'll buy that excuse.
Feel that shudder, Luthor? It wasn't an earthquake. It was your database, the one you kept on nearly every human being there is.
Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot the random emphasis. Here.
Feel that shudder, Luthor? It wasn't an earthquake. It was your database, the one you kept on nearly every human being there is.
The one that lets you blackmail, terrorize, bribe, or murder everybody who opposed your little hostile takeover of the planet. It's gone! Wow, this is badass! He even says that he took out all of his backups for that database. This is the Batman we've wanted since the beginning. Alrighty, he's attacked Luthor right where he feels safe. Now he even cuts a Z into his face. Gruesome, admittedly, but hey, I'm a nerd for the Zorro thing. What's he gonna do now? He leaves. Just leaves. That was it? That was the plan? Strike a terrifying blow to Luthor, confront him in person, wag your finger in his face and say, "Bad, Luthor," and then just haul ass? Don't get me wrong, brilliant tactical maneuver, struck fear in the heart of the enemy, made him feel weak and powerless. But what's the follow-up? This doesn't topple his regime. In fact, it drives Luthor to extremes he probably wouldn't have gone to before and leads to people dying. How can Batman be so damn smart and yet so damn stupid? This should have been the climax of the story right here. Batman swoops in, big hero moment, Luthor demands to know how he did it, and his response? I'm Batman. But no, instead we have a scene that's just out of place and serves no purpose other than to remind us that Batman is that damn awesome. Hey, newsflash for you, Frank. We already know that about Batman. We have another quick recruitment of another former superhero, this time Ralph Dibny, the Elongated Man, while he does a commercial for the chemical that gives him his super stretchy powers called Gingold. Elongate your love life, fellas. And yet, a wrinkled old superhero talking about this is still less disturbing than those Smilin' Bob natural male enhancement commercials. Ugh. Up in the North Pole, Wonder Woman is walking around expositing about how the Fortress of Solitude was destroyed by Luthor and Brainiac. Then, for some reason, she falls down a big chasm instead of just flying out to Superman directly. From what I can tell, she can't fly in this comic, which is stupid on many levels, but we'll ignore that for now since Miller's apparently going for some weird Silver Age thing with this comic, and back in those days, Wundy couldn't fly. However, what we didn't have was the telepathy that yet again is never explained and is difficult to follow since the text boxes for either character are the exact same color. Soups is all sad and mopey in the snow, still injured from being beat up by Batman in the last issue. The two talk about the fact that they have a daughter named Lara who's kept secret from Luthor and Brainiac out of fear that they'd try to make her work for them as well. This just further reminds me of the idiocy of having any of these people working for Luthor or Brainiac and not even entertaining the idea of working from within to overthrow them. In fact, it's Wonder Woman who has to telepathically tell Superman that they're waiting for an opportunity to take them down, but Soups is all beaten and downtrodden and ugh, let's just move on. Take a shot. Bruce broke me down into pieces like I was a high school geometry project. The worst part is that he got a C- on that project. So what does Diana do? She punches him, since of course that's the smartest thing to do to the guy who already looks like his face has been under a meat tenderizer for hours. Oh, and this is the moment where she finally says something instead of in caption boxes, but then we're right back to the caption boxes. Where is the man who stole my Amazon heart? Where is the hero who threw me to the ground and took me as his rightful prize?
I'm gonna go ahead and assume you know why that's stupid and move on.
So now the two have sex. Oh, we don't see a single thing. Apparently Superman's cape has become big enough to encompass two individuals. But what gets me is what happens during this. After 5 splash pages, start down on your drinks, people, their banging in the air has caused typhoons, earthquakes, the oceans to overturn aircraft carriers, and then somehow they end up in the water. Wow, Frank. Just wow! I thought I'd read stupid before, but then I read a comic where Superman and Wonder Woman banged so hard that they altered the weather itself. Anyway, now they're underwater for some reason. Goodness, Mr. Kent, you could populate a planet. I'm pregnant again. How the hell does she know? Doesn't it usually take longer than that? And so they go leaping off. Oh, and all of Superman's injuries are healed. Because, you know, sex is great for reconstructive surgery. However, afterwards they're interrupted by the head of Lex Luthor, who needs Superman to deal with an incoming giant alien invasion. Said alien invasion slaughters several people, and guess what? The alien is in fact Brainiac, so this is the result of Batman not actually having a plan for stopping Lex Luthor right there. He's going to stage an attack and get Superman to be publicly humiliated and defeated to make superheroes look useless. According to the talking heads, hundreds have been slaughtered by this thing. What's Batman's reaction to this?
It's anything but trouble. For us, this'll keep those Justice League capos good and busy and out of our hair.
Our hero cares nothing for the people being killed by this thing. Instead, Batman sees this as the perfect opportunity to storm Arkham Asylum and grab another superpowered pal of his.
Stay grim. Don't break into a run. Don't laugh like a schoolboy. Don't let them know how much fun you're having.
Yes, have fun while people die and... Wait, what the hell's going on with the pixels on his face? Great, did somebody capture missing number? The comic's starting to glitch out! So while the Bat Crew is talking, we have some more talking heads, including the Mad Magazine mascot, sure, why not, and this. Hugely large alien spaceship attack whole big planet, coming next on Super Mega Giant Big News. Now baby, tonight, I'm cool and hard-boiled! Oh, how I wish Sailor Moon would just walk out, twirl around 50 times, and release a whole bunch of sparkly things to make this end. It seems somebody at DC slapped Frank's hand off the keyboard for a second and told him stop making our flagship character look bad because Superman goes badass in front of the alien frog thing and just laughs off its initial attack. Oh, but why would we want a superhero battle when instead we could have more satire? This time with people enhancing the stripper idea of the Super Chicks band, maybe they are webcam strippers, with a creepy looking guy saying that Wonder Chick gave me this. She peeled it right off her butt and gave it to me. Oh, and then Jay Leno. Why? How? He doesn't even say anything. What do you want from me, Jay Leno? Why are you staring at me? Anyway, over to Batman scaling the wall of Arkham Asylum, where we get a whole bunch of exposition about how the inmates basically took over the asylum 5 years ago, which makes no sense since this is supposed to take place 3 years after The Dark Knight Returns, and Arkham was just fine in that book, but whatever. We'll enjoy a skewed timeline when we get back to All-Star Batman and Robin. And since then have basically degenerated into cannibalism. Oh, and take a shot. And the reason they're here? To free Plastic Man, who apparently was imprisoned in there some time ago. Who the hell was running the equipment that kept him there? The degenerate, deranged inmates? Oh, and naturally, what brings him out of his brief insanity after being stuck in a single shape for so many years? One punch from Batman. You know, Frank, there are other superheroes that can be awesome besides Batman. Can you believe we're only now hitting the halfway point? Even if 11 pages have been wordless one-panel pages, that really says something. Anyway, Plastic Man is recruited and we cut to someone resembling the Joker who kills off the superhero known as the Guardian. The Guardian was another superhero created by Joe Kirby and Jack Simon, the same guys who made Captain America. Thanks, Frank. Why is this scene necessary? What does it add to the plot? Well, we get to have a subplot of not Joker, since the Joker was killed in The Dark Knight Returns, killing off superheroes. Trust me when I say that his ultimate identity will just leave you confused and irritated when all is said and done. So Superman continues fighting Brainiac Frog, who now has pixel eyes for some reason, and finally realizes that it's Brainiac, and he explains their plan of humiliating him so people will stop believing in superheroes. He once again threatens to destroy the Bottle City of Kandor if he doesn't run away right now. Superman doesn't want any more people to die, so he compromises by saying that he won't run away, but he won't fight back either. Naturally, Superman doesn't bother to think that Brainiac is just going to cause rapid amounts of collateral damage as he's beat down. Wait a second, a thought just occurred to me. What does Brainiac get out of all this? He's a freaking supercomputer all about emotionless logic and junk. Why the hell is he dicking around with Lex Luthor on a single world when he's supposed to be bopping around the universe, shrinking down cities and shoving them in bottles? Back in the Batcave, Barry Allen is arguing with Bruce, wanting to go out and save lives since, you know, they're superheroes.
Man, you're as thick as Clark is. That robot is a trick to flush us out so they can kill us. This is my show, my war. We follow my strategy.
That's a good point. Oh, wait, no. That's the dumbest thing I ever heard.
Bruce continues bitching that he was looking in the wrong direction, that he should have been thinking big picture throughout the world instead of chasing down muggers and burglars. You know what's funny? I read this exact same debate in the pages of Infinite Crisis a few years ago, only in that situation, Batman was defending the smaller view. And say what you will about Infinite Crisis, there are legitimate grievances one can have with that book, yet it wasn't half as idiotic as this, where Batman, of all people, is arguing that it's perfectly okay to sacrifice people. This moronic argument ends thanks to Carrie Kelly, who has hacked into the Pentagon and discovered that an airstrike is going down in Costa Rica with the codename Thanagar, meaning it involves Hawkman and Hawkwoman. For some reason, this warrants Batman's attention and not the giant alien robot, but Barry Allen's already there to tell them that the forest is on fire. And oh God, you've got to be kidding me. I had honestly forgot about them for a bit, but the stupidity of the Super Chicks is back again, with them wanting to do a concert in Gotham, but the National Guard had been deployed to stop them. The Black Canary of the group shoves her ass out and says, "We thought we were doing our little show for the boys. Us girls, we got a thing for men in uniform." This apparently leads to massive desertions from the National Guard. I hate this comic. I hate it. I hate it. You know, here's a thought. If Superman's hip thrusts are powerful enough to cause hurricanes, how the hell is he having trouble ripping apart a giant wind-up toy frog? Anyway, time for pointless interlude number 579, this time with the Martian Manhunter meeting up with the Question. For some ungodly reason, Frank Miller has decided to give John Jones a Brooklyn accent. Possibly to make him seem more grizzled, or possibly because, in Frank's perspective, he's still writing Sin City. The only point of this is to establish that the Martian Manhunter has lost his powers, and the Question still being all Randian. Whatever. Jean gets killed by the Joker guy, and establishing that bullets can't kill it. Back at the battle, Superman is down, and his daughter is chomping at the bit to get into the fight. Wonder Woman holds her back before charging in on a Pegasus in a kick-ass 2-page spread, take a shot, where she's wielding a friggin' thunderbolt. Captain Marvel is killed, I guess. It's not exactly clear. Wonder Woman is knocked out by missiles from Brainiac, and Superman's down for the count. However, Superman's daughter, Laura, suddenly transmutes the toga she's wearing into a Supergirl outfit. Okay. And decides, screw this, and charges into battle. She heat visions the Brainiac frog to death with some Photoshop filters and declares in telepathic narration captions, "The power is ours! The power has always been ours!" I have the power! Screw it, any enthusiasm for that bit has died a slow death. Over in Costa Rica, Hawkman and Hawkwoman's son and daughter reveal how they were hidden in the forest for years, but that their parents are dead now thanks to the airstrike Luthor ordered. Batman decides to recruit them.
You're gonna get what I never got. Retribution!
Revenge. The most worthless of causes.
Brainiac says he's going to recruit Laura now, but laments that she had to destroy one of his larger bodies. I mean, those great big city-straddling whoppers that cost a fortune. Why is the alien robot devoted to logic worried about money? God, this is stupid! Laura says she's going to kill Brainiac, but Brainiac laughs back that she's wearing the Superman crest and that they don't kill. But I'm not from Kansas, you son of a bitch. I'm an Amazon. You can start by killing me. Superman suddenly, causes the background to be processed through a filter, and then the two are talking to each other about how hard it is to control heat vision and how sad he is about the world he's leaving to her. Oh, whatever. Stop pretending there's actual emotional bits to this. Over in Gotham, the Super Chicks concert is in full swing, and Luthor decides to bring the hammer down on it to nip the revolution in the bud. Batman has other plans.
The plan is Carrie's.
Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot. The Batman in this book is not a tactical genius.
I never could have conceived it. Not in a million years.
Of course not. Your all-consuming hatred of rock and roll would never allow you to take advantage of a concert, Batman. National Guard troops flat out refuse to bust the Super Chicks. Authorities send in armored divisions of grade school security officers. Oh God, people. I just suddenly realized that I could really go for a scene of Arnold Schwarzenegger making a lame pun about ice right about now. Wouldn't that be so much less stupid than this?
What killed the dinosaurs? The Ice Age!
Never mind, they're both stupid.
Anyway, with the armored divisions of grade school security officers. What the Flying Dutchman was Frank Miller high on that day? Stepping in, a full-scale riot starts to break out. The armored forces are given authorization for lethal force to stop the concert, but before they can fire, the Flash super speeds by them to take away their clothes and guns. The rest of the heroes show up to take out any remaining guards, and Green Arrow launches some laser light arrows, I guess, that create this Photoshop effect along with a bat signal. I admit this is kind of cool, but at the same time, you're all probably too drunk to care at this point. If you're not, take a shot, another 2-page spread. Batman pulls off his cowl and reveals his plan. To grab hold of a fad, a fleeting fashion trend, and turn it into a revolution. And so our comic ends with Batman giving the rallying cry of, "Children, pull on your tights and give them hell! Though we die, la resistance lives on!" This comic sucks! The plot is stupid, the characters are either unlikable or moronic, the art is lazy, the backgrounds are non-existent, the satire is pointless, the science implausible, the dialogue is atrocious, and if you've ever wondered how to completely strip yourself of the feeling of joy, here's a 78-page instruction guide. Dear Lord, I hated this! I can't possibly imagine anything that would ever be as conceivably bad as... Comic ought to keep you busy for a while I work on my next great weapon! Prepare, Linkara, or don't, for the power of my finger beams!
Hey, Linkara, there's some evil mad scientist guy plotting your downfall.
Oh, who the hell cares? Someone made a second issue of Sultry Teenage Superclasses! Ah!